Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
That nigga garbage.
All right, I had to fix that. Y'all know it's been a minute. Y'all know what's been going on. What's the motherfucking deal? First and foremost, welcome to Soft Sports. If you're not familiar with Soft Sports, the Houston, Texas Homer Network. Maybe talking all sports, but only Houston. We're gonna kind of cut through all the formalities. Y'all know what it is. It's been a minute. Shout out your side with pride, whatever side you represent. If you are from the greater Houston area, shout your side out, man. Want to show a little bit of a little love. You know, what I'm saying, a little roll call, Sauce Nation roll call. Even if you're not from Houston, you know, shout out where you're from. It's all love around here. I hate that the last couple of streams that the Sauces had to do, like I haven't had to do, I guess I could be a little bit more on top of it. But have been real negative topics. You feel me? And it's real unfortunate that they've been involved in Deshaun Watson, a figure around this town that we've grown to know and love. Then you had the drama, I guess, with, you know, everything that took place. And then now you have this story with several allegations against Deshaun Watson, sexual allegations. And y'all know how we rock around the South, though. We hold no punches. You know, call it like we see it. And if you caught the tweet, I told you straight up and down, I'm biased in this situation, but I'm going to do my best to, you know, look at it from both sides. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say I'm biased is because I've had, I won't say a situation where I'm not out there busting up masseuses and shit, but, you know, I've had false allegations placed on me at one time. And so it makes me, when I see these stories, I look at them a particular kind of way. So I'm going to be honest and open with y'all because we're going to keep it 100 around here. I'm leaning against the accusers, right? But we're going to look at a bunch of interesting things, the facts, the legality about some of this stuff, and just what's really going on, right? And we'll kind of look at the, I won't say speculation, the assumptions, because there's a lot of conspiracy theories saying that the Texans are behind this. Some people are saying that it's just a lot of crazy stuff. This extortion. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of crazy shit. But let me see where y'all at, man. Victoria, Texas in the house already. Austin, Texas, what's the motherfucking deal? See H-Town in the building, Locust, North Carolina in the building. What's the motherfucking deal? Man, it's good to see all y'all, man. Because again, like I said, I know it's we haven't been as regular with the sauce, and that's on me. But we're gonna get it going. I got some things to take care of this week, but I'm trying to get it back on track next week because all of this has been going down. It's getting about that time to really start talking about it. And no, the sauce is not going anywhere. No matter what happens with Watson, it is what it is. This has always been about the city. It would always remain about the city. The good, the bad, and the unfortunate. So there's that. And for those asking, what does WTMFD mean? What's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Jason, Michael, Joshua, Beyond the Funny Nigga, Juice World, RJ, Shelly, Chase, Rio, what's the motherfucking deal? Nicholas, Jamari, Rod, let me see. Brandon, H-Town Sports, Adrian, what's the motherfucking deal? Herb Gotti, what's the motherfucking deal? Master Race, King Jaja, Ruru, Hot Boy, Titans, what's up, Titans up? What's the motherfucking deal, man? Good to see you. Brandon R, Jelly Roll, Northside, DeMarkey. Remind me next time we have a den, DeMarcus, to give you your wrench back. I keep forgetting deliberately. James Brooke, Clayton, what's the motherfucking deal? Daniel Martinez, what's the motherfucking deal? Gerardo, what's the motherfucking deal? Wink, what's the motherfucking deal? Infinity, Damon, shout out to Damon, man. Damon been holding down, man. Appreciate the love. Shout out to Damon Knight, what's the motherfucking deal? Purple Drink, Joseph Lopez. Let me see, Milk Main, what's the motherfucking deal? B Shelf, Ed in Houston. I thought I was only Ed in Houston. What do we got going on? Wise, what's the motherfucking deal? Cool and Ver, what's the motherfucking deal? Ruben, Let me see. JP, Dirty South. Man, I'm trying to shout at everybody because I know it's been a minute. Mitch, what's the motherfucking deal? Jackson State in the building already. Alonzo, what's the motherfucking deal? All right, so Shaolin, man, what's up, Shaolin? I got to chop it with my boy Shaolin. Trill in the building, what's the motherfucking deal? All right, so let's talk about it, man. Like, there's so much going on, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Hold on. Wait, let me. We got to keep certain things in order around here. Hold on. Where we at? We 138 deep with 48 likes. Come on, man. We got to do better than that. I know y'all mad about all the shit going on with the show. I didn't make the man or make these allegations happen. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at Sauce. Don't be mad at the Roundtable because of this shit. You can at least hit the like button. Don't be no hater. Hit that like button. And yes, also, like I say, I was trying to get with the round. I know everybody's kind of busy, so later on I do plan on us having a secondary stream also a little bit later this evening with the round. Because, we got to get everybody's opinion on it. If you've been in the Discord, then you already know how it's been shaking in the Discord. So, let's get to it. What's going on? What's happening? What's been taking place? I already, OG, appreciate the love. I got windows all over the place. Got it all fucked up. It says, so you got to pay this expensive lawyer, possibly these females and these fines for sitting out. Think you got to play now, huh? Hey, that's a good point. Respond to you on Twitter. Oh, okay, I got you. Matter of fact, give me just a second. I got you, Houston, Texas Talk. Give me just a second. Because I have flipped the script. Give me segundo, por favor. Yeah, y'all know players fuck up, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little rusty. Well, why are we talking about that? But like I said, so you have these allegations of these people who have come out. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Against Watson, several women, and I don't think we've heard all of it. Allegedly, that there are several more, who are accusing him. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, be straight up. Even with my own biases, you got to look at certain things. And say, hey, it's a possibility where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, are Texans? And I'm not talking about the team. Like, I'm talking about the people, us fans. Like, are we so demented that we would be willing to go as far, or is there someone in the fan base so demented they'd be willing to go as far as trying to stage this elaborate hoax, this elaborate blackmail of Deshaun Watson in hopes of, keeping him around, right? And to me, that sounds ridiculous. I think this is it. I think I fucked it up, actually. I think this is it, yeah. Oh, God damn it. And it sounds ridiculous, but I see some people feel like this is a elaborate scheme by the Texans because, like I say, a lot of these have come out, a year ago? And a lot of these have been, kind of stifling. You hear some of the stories, and they're hard to believe. I'm going to be honest with you, for me. And again, I'm a man. I've never been in that situation. And, women say they respond differently to some things. Sometimes they suppress it. Or some people say that they saw these stories come out and, I think this is it, yeah. They see the stories come out and... I'm going to send this. Hopefully this works. And then, it makes them feel courage to say, well, I didn't have to break that barrier down. I see he's doing it. He's a monster. It wasn't just me. It wasn't this one-off incident. People start feeling the way they start feeling empowered and shit like that, right? And then, like I said, with wanting to get out and everything that's going on, there's already this disdain for him. So right now, I think at this point, it's been about 3 women have come out. The first one was what? He rubbed. Hold on one second. Let me get this going. Hold on one second. And the one said what? I think it was a masseuse, and this was the one out of the home, right? And his penis grazed her hand. Let's talk about this one. Let's break them down piece by piece. Let me make sure this is working because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Honestly, so I switched over to something from Zoom, and all right, cool. So now we're gonna figure out how to make this thing work. All right, so y'all don't mind me while I'm somewhat operating here. Kind of crazy. Give me just a second. I'll be bringing in Mr. Asmel here. Hold on. Oh, we can do it like this. It always works. Nope, not that one. Not that one. I'm telling you, I'm figuring this shit out. So, like I say, work with your boy. But the first one, so apparently it's. Oh, that's the one. Apparently, he tried to get her to fondle his penis or something of that sort while getting massage. Why is this not fucking capturing the thing like I wanted to? Never operates the way you want it to. All right, we'll do it like this. Yeah, I'm trying to do a whole lot at once, so y'all just pardon me. Okay, so now when I first heard that, this shit, I don't want to say this shit. When I first heard that shit, I'm right, okay, masseuse, in-home, inadvertent contact, right? This is just something to stretch it. This is just something to try to, really make something out of nothing, and it's really no big deal, right? All right, give me a second. I'm going to swap this over. It may or may not look a little janky, but we're going to make this work. Give me just a moment. Oh, my bad. Let me swap this over. And give me a second as we're working this. But like I said, so the first part, like it was I don't want to make that visible. It was a situation where, why is that showing up? It's not showing me this. That's bullshit. Where again, like I said, she was saying that he tried to get her to fondle the head of his penis or fondle his penis or something while she was giving him a massage. I thought it was real sketchy. Like I said, working out the house, working out the crib. And here I'll bring your sound. And he's not on the screen yet, but I have Mr. Houston Texans Talk himself, Mr. Asmel, joining us. They should be able to hear your audio, but like I said, I'm working on the screen part right here.
What's good, Soft Sports?
Already. So, in this first situation, and I know y'all probably looking Honcho like Honcho's crazy, like who the fuck is he talking to? Well, I got y'all, let me just get this. On the first situation, like, when you heard about it, how did you respond to that? What did you think? Did you think it was some bullshit? Did you feel like, somebody was just trying to extort him, squeeze some money out of him? I heard there were some text messages prior to. Like, what were your thoughts on when you first heard the initial allegation against Watson?
When I saw the first one, I thought, well, yeah, he has a pretty good chance of being able to beat this, and able to fight it. And from that aspect, I started thinking, well, what's the worst thing that the NFL could do? They're obviously going to wait for more stuff to come out. I think eventually they're going to open up their own investigation. And just going back to the Ezekiel Elliott case, from the investigation, they actually had told the NFL, there's not much to go off on here. There's a lot of he said, she said, which is kind of what's going on here. And they still suspended Zeke for 6 games. So that's kind of the precedent of what they can go by. But I thought he had a pretty good chance just with that one. Once that second one came into play, and there's records of this guy flying her out from Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, that's when I really started to think, okay, they might definitely have a case against him now, because how do you prove that? Like, there's obviously a confirmation email or a text, someone saying, hey, go to such and such place, and this is going to be a confirmation for your boarding flight. I mean, Deshaun doesn't own a private jet. Could he have sent a private jet? Maybe. But, I'm not too sure how much he was willing to spend on a masseuse to just go do a 1 or 2 hour massage. So once that one broke out, I was like, all right, they might definitely be getting compensated here. And my thing, because a lot of people will say, well, the lawyer apparently, according to Deshaun's statement, he came out and said that the lawyer had already approached Deshaun Watson for compensation prior so that he wouldn't actually file the lawsuit. But I think that the lawyer probably held back information and probably only told him about the one case, not necessarily said, you know what, I got 6 others. So, you know, what do you want to do? You want to settle on this one, and maybe they chose to, you know, break down that settlement between the 6. But I don't think Deshaun was aware of the 6. I think that now Deshaun probably knowing that there are potentially 6, even more. I think he might have wanted to just pay them off and keep this under the wraps, because it definitely is not painting a great picture for Deshaun right now.
Okay. It looks sketchy. Like, and so from what you've seen, I know you've been paying close attention to the story. Like, do you feel that most people are still backing Deshaun and they kind of think that, you know, these women are trying to come up on a hustle? Do you think people are turning against Deshaun? Like, what is the general sentiment in your opinion? Or do you think a lot of people are staying out of it until, you know, they see ultimately what's going on?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are staying out of it, especially when you look at the national media. You know, they're kind of touching on it. I think I saw First Take kind of touch on it today. They did start to basically feel like everyone else. The one case, they kind of felt like, oh, you know, maybe it just she just felt uncomfortable about it, and, you know, felt like it was some type of harassment. Once that third one hit, where they're reporting that Deshaun Watson is basically forcing someone to give him oral head. I think that actually came out after a lot of these national media going on their show. So they'll probably talk about that tomorrow. And I think they're kind of easing off on him because, one, he's never had anything, you know, he's never had any blemish against him, not in college, not up to this point in the NFL. So everyone's kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, for the most part, I am too, except when every single case that gets now detailed, it only gets worse and worse. And it's like, how can they be suing you for all this information and not have the text to turn in, not have the Instagram messages to turn in? There's obviously, like you say, if there's fire, there's obviously some type of smoke. Could all the details be true? Maybe not. But I think it's going to be very hard for Deshaun to beat this. Obviously, he's gotten himself a pretty good lawyer. I can't remember his name, but he's definitely also gotten off a couple of more people. I think he represented Roger Clemens at one point. So he's very famous also in Houston. So basically, I think someone tweeted just the other day, you're going to have a lawyer celebrity death match, right? You got one of the 2 best lawyers in Houston going against each other, representing each other's clients. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what more comes out of this. But as far as the lawyer for the defendant, I mean, I wouldn't do anything different than what he's doing. The way that he's really putting this out there day by day, he's exposing a new case. Day by day, he's only exposing it from least, you know, obviously the least kind to the worst. Yeah, man. I at this point, I think Deshaun, he might be shaking in his boots. I will say this, and I thought this was an interesting nugget. His girl Jill had some type of symposium that she was supposed to go on yesterday. She was promoting it at midnight before the news broke out of the first case, and that symposium that she was supposed to speak on got canceled yesterday. So that's interesting to me because obviously either she's putting everything to the side to support her guy, or there's already a rift there going on between their relationship, and you know, this shit might be going south. I think if you start to see Jill distance herself from Deshaun, yeah, there definitely might be some fire there.
I got a question. What the fuck is she gonna talk about? Who the fuck wants to listen to what the fuck she got to talk about? Like, yeah, pardon me, because I was in the back. I'm trying to get all the things. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get everything in order here. But I'm just like, I thought about what you just said, and I'm like, what the fuck does she have? How do you get it? How to be a superstar or a groupie? Like, what is? I mean, you know, I don't know. Some of y'all, but I shouldn't say that. You know, it's not nice to talk about. I don't give a fuck. No, like, what are you speaking on? Like, I don't want to hear anything she has to talk about. That's why I should have got canceled for the fact that somebody realized it's a bad fucking idea to listen to her talk about some shit. But anyway, yeah, so, I mean, that's a good point, though, that if she kind of strays from him, but what do you think long term, man? If we're talking long term, and I apologize to the chat, I've been tinkering with all this, trying to get it all in order, and get this shit right. But what do you think long term, man? Like, even, you know, if things work out positively right, for Deshaun. And say everything comes to the end and he walks away from this not too blemished. Do you think his days here in Houston are still done? I mean, like, what do you think the outcome is if it turns out good for him?
Best case scenario, the Texans are going to attack that guaranteed money, and the Texans end up with a ton of cap space from that contract, but you're not going to get any value. And really, it's going to come down to you have a cap space. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to attack other holes that you have? Do you want to save it? At this point, we're kind of screwed because most of the more expensive free agents are gone. So it's a possibility you can save some of that cap for rollover next year. And then just go with, Tyrod as your quarterback and realize that you're probably going to end up getting 4 wins again. And next year you'll have the draft picks that you can go and get yourself a quarterback. So I'm not sure what Nick will do there. But as far as Deshaun, I think the league's still going to suspend him. Whether he comes off of it as, he didn't have to pay any damage just to the females, or whatever. I think the precedent has already been set for Zeke Elliott. Like, they don't care. The fact that you're making the NFL look bad, the fact that this is happening, the fact that you're the face of the franchise, the fact that they see you as one of the upcoming stars in the NFL, I think they have enough there for Roger Goodell to say. And on top of that, you're demanding a trade. So it's already been reported that owners were pissed off about that because he was creating a precedent for the quarterback to basically say, if I'm not liking the situation here, get me the hell out of Houston. They already, were reported to basically been pleading with Cal to fix the situation, and they haven't been able to do that. So I think this is another option for the league to say, nah, you better humble yourself. Here's 6 games, here's 10 games, or here's the year. I think as far as the year and the indefinite suspension doesn't come unless, he's found guilty and he has to pay. But as far as him being innocent, I think him putting himself in that position, not reporting to the team, because that's the other thing. The team is pissed off that when the lawyer actually hit up Deshaun Watson to talk about, hey, you want us to just settle this right now and me file this suit, he should have at that time, got with the security team with the Houston Texans. And as we all know, Deshaun Watson has not been talking to the Houston Texans. So we can all see how he felt like, I don't want to bring this to the team. And then, all of a sudden they're finding out the way we're finding out, which is on social media. And believe it or not, the Texans are not enthusiastic about finding out that way about their star quarterback who, the whole time they've been trying to save face and not trade him, and now might feel like, we should have fucking traded him and got some asses out of it because from the conversation I had yesterday, certain GMs are already starting to shy away from it and want to see this situation come to a close or at least get a little more detail before they continue to pursue Deshaun.
And I'm kind of with you. I think it's going to be one of those situations no matter what, because like you say, you put a stain on the shield, you know what I mean? And so the NFL cares about the brand, more than anything else. And so I do agree that there probably will be some problems. It's just odd that this happens in the middle of what people consider, possibly one of the biggest trade opportunities in NFL history with this guy. People talk about it was like the Herschel trade. But then, it comes out. Then you see some of these allegations are from, a year or more ago. Do you feel like this was a setup, or do you feel like that lawyer, I can't remember his name, Busby, genuinely has the best interest of these women in mind, or do you think he has something against, Watson? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the lawyers always see a case about making money, about winning. If it's a case that's winnable, if it's a case that's going to make them money, I think that's their first priority. Second comes, the victim, and if they truly feel, like they can get their reward for them. But anytime that I've gotten any type of lawsuit with the lawyer, anytime that I've said something to the lawyer, his interest has always been about, can we build a case? Do we have a case here? Can I win this case? If I cannot win this case, then he's going to tell me straight up, this is not winnable. Like, I can't do anything with what you're giving me. I'm sorry. It sucks that you're in this position, But if I can't do anything with it, then we should probably not try to sue. We should probably not try to chase after a claim here. So I think, I mean, he's gonna be after his own good. I mean, does that mean that he doesn't care what happened to them? No, I think he probably does care, but he's not gonna put that over him making the money that he could potentially make off of this lawsuit.
Yeah, that's the name that goes with it. Yeah. Okay. Now I know he's represented a few prominent guys before, so I found. I mean, I'm sorry, not him, but the guy Deshaun went and got. Like you said, Clemens, I think Adrian Peterson. And a couple other guys. So I found that really interesting because, the public perception is as soon as somebody goes and lawyers up, you automatically assume, oh, well, they must be guilty or it must be something, which is not the case. Mm-hmm. You got to protect yourself. If you're going to get somebody who has lawyers, well, you better get yourself some lawyers if you're not well versed in the legalese. But like I say, so I know people are kind of painting the picture. And I know people saying, hey, listen to these women. And again, like I say, even myself, because I've had situations in the past where a false allegation happened, so it's hard for me to immediately trust women. Then you see with athletes, you've seen how many women in the past have come out and lied about things, and careers have been ruined, right? But at the same time, there have been situations where it's gone the other way around and lives have been ruined. So you don't want to dismiss that. I think it's just hard for a lot of people to perceive this because of the perception, because of the persona that Deshaun Watson has created, and so I think it's kind of weird for a lot of folks to really believe this. Insane said, "What's the motherfucking deal, man? Appreciate the love." And Real ZZ and Mitch, man, appreciate the love, appreciate the super chat love, man. But like I said, it's just it's odd because the timing and everything that's happening with it makes me question stuff. But I see people saying that they believe the McNairs are behind it. I disagree because I don't think that there's anything for them to gain if they were quote unquote behind this. I know people talking about, well, he said he's neighbors with the McNairs and he wanted Manziel and all this other stuff. Do you think any of that plays into these accusations with Busby?
So he's not currently the neighbor of the McNairs. He was their neighbor back in, I think, 2014, 2016. And he was actually Bob and Janice's McNair's neighbor. So he's not Cal McNair's neighbor, which is basically the perception that's being put out there. I mean, does that change anything? No, obviously he knows the McNairs. Like there is no getting around that. But look, I thought that possibility, it could have been when there was that first case. When the dude's announcing there's a second and a third, now potentially there's 6, and who knows? Like, because let's be honest, these athletes could very well be getting a massage on a weekly basis. We're talking about 6 people right now that are willing to speak on it, and not truly to the extent of giving their name and identity, because they're all been filed under Jane Doe. But they're still speaking up to a certain point. Like how many more can be added? That's why people were kind of like confused that Busby, a guy who's a lawyer for more of a corporate America, took this case. But when you start to look at things and they started to make sense, because he has already on hand 6 people. On top of that, they could potentially be adding more people if they feel like, hey, Deshaun reached out to me and this was my interaction with them. I guess this is kind of what sucks about it, because just because all 6 have filed doesn't necessarily mean that all 6 are going to be telling the truth. One of them could piggyback from it and be like, you know what? Well, I'm gonna give me some money too. Nothing really truly happened between us, but I mean, if they're believing the other 5, why not jump on it? And I think that's going to be interesting to see what happens with the other. I think so far the details have been on 3, so we have at least 3 more to go on the details of it. And I think he did say this one was the worst out of all 6, with the oral, him forcing himself orally into the woman. I think what sucks for him in that particular case is the fact that it said that I think the lady's the massage therapist's mother had actually picked her up from the hotel where she had done the services, and had found her basically distraught. And I don't know if they said that she either had threw up on herself or had basically pooped on herself. Yeah, and it was like, dude, like now you have a witness who can literally testify about this lady's position and standing, how she was emotionally on that day. That's why, to me, it's like, man, it's a lot of stuff stacked up against him. I think it just really makes it tough for him.
Okay. And I agree. You know, that story there was odd, and I kind of want to touch on these stories a little bit more individually. Give me just 1 second to fix this damn thing, whatever the fuck I got going on over here. Okay. And yeah, as it got to the point, it got progressively worse. But like I said, start with the first one. Like I said, a little inadvertent touching. You kind of blow over. You're like, all right, this is just somebody out on the bullshit. The second one, I think the second one was the one who was unlicensed, right? Was the I think the second one the unlicensed one, or the third
I think
one?
it might have been the first one. I think she was operating from home. I mean, they're all operating from home. That's the fishy part about it.
Yeah.
They're all operating from home, and the fact that Busby would put on the lawsuit that they all have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure they all want to have their own businesses at one point. I don't think that's out of the space of reality. But just that they all are aiming for that at this particular moment, I think that's really what makes it odd. Because, yeah, you're only suing for $500, but let's be honest, that's a picture that he's painting. So the judge or the jury that they put together, depending on what they choose to do, is going to look at it and say, they're not really even asking for that much money. He's still going to reward them more than $500 if they end up winning the case. Absolutely. I think the lawyer is just putting that because he knows, like, they're not going to give you $500 if you win. They're going to definitely give you a lot more than that. But I thought that particular thing was odd. But I think it was either the first or second one that was not licensed.
Okay. And so, like I say, and so that's kind of the thing, you know. And I'm not going to knock anybody for working out of their house because I was chopping up with Rio earlier, and and I know a lot of y'all are probably familiar. Like, I used to have my mole used to go to a chick, worked in a salon for somebody else, and she started working out of her shop, nail tech or whatever, till she built up her money, and got her own thing. You see salon people do it. You see, like I say, I'm sure masseuses do it till they get their own spot, till they get their own place to operate. Work out your house. I get it. But to me, it comes across, like you said, as sketchy. It does appear kind of janky. My thing is, like, if you're working from home and you kind of you do a job where you get intimate with people, regardless if it's just supposed to be above the board type shit. There are sketchy ones. I mean, they got a whole fucking phrase for the end of a massage. You know what I'm saying? So that there's obviously a lot of janky shit going on in this this line of work. So, and I'm not saying every woman who's a masseuse is a giving happy endings and shit out there, so don't be all out there. So Honcho said it. So my deal is like, so I see how everything comes across looking weird. Again, we already have this personal, what the fuck is that? We have this personal affection for Deshaun because of what he's done in the city and like all that good stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, like I say, even with my own personal, like it's getting harder and harder to like stand strong and believe some stuff. But I want to get into I think maybe the sketchiest part of all this, I've been avoiding talking about it, but let's address the elephant in the room. And I want to say the elephant in the room was massage number 2, since we're currently talking about massage number 2. Does the oily situation change Deshaun's standing within the eyes of his peers in the league, in your opinion?
Oh, personally for me, it was a little weird. It was a little awkward, and it definitely did change my view of him. I mean, look, he's a Virgo, baby. Say what you say about Virgos, whatever. Take it with a grain of salt. But the thing that's weird to me is, like, you have this supposedly quote unquote bad lady, bad bitch, as a girlfriend. And so you would think that those things would be things that she'd be able to satisfy. Maybe it's not things that she's willing to do. When the details on that one came out, talking about getting certain sides of it, oil, making sure you use a certain specific oil. For me, that was definitely a little bit awkward. Definitely made me look at him kind of side eye, like, all right, buddy, like, this definitely doesn't paint the greatest picture of you. It definitely makes him seem like a sexual deviant. And it's just like, if that's the type of person that he is, I think that's what's making the other stuff more believable, because you're like, okay, well, this guy is willing to go to this range with people, doesn't feel uncomfortable by it and doesn't feel awkward by it. and thinks it's a normal thing. Like, so everything else that follows is just, it doesn't seem out of the norm for him the way that they're actually trying to portray him, right? I'm not saying that these things are true and that I think, he is this guy, but it definitely, I think for me, it made things a little bit awkward. We even laughed about, is that the reason why he uses the slime? And, he slides his finger through his nose and stuff like that, all kidding around. But it definitely painted a picture that I probably did not want to have with Deshaun. And it is what it is,
man. Shout out to Joseph Lopez. You gotta be dying. Pimp C he been told us about them boys from Atlanta, man. Goddamn. Yeah, that was unexpected, to say the very least, but it was just real weird. I will be honest. Yeah, it makes you question some things, right? It's like it was like I don't know. I mean, after that, say everything did clear up. Say he did play for the Texans again, right? How do you I don't know, man. Like, the motherfuckers even feel comfortable tackling a motherfucker like that. What's going on there, baby? Oh, this a little too. You might be enjoying this a little too much. That may be why he be patting niggas after the fucking tackles and shit, being too friendly and shit. Like, motherfucker, be angry, have some animosity or something. I don't know. I'm not saying nothing. Just odd facts to be put into a lawsuit. And then so you have that situation, and they made it seem like he was aggressively demanding that. And then you had a third one though. Now in the third situation where, like I say, you mentioned where obviously this woman has, defiled herself because she was so distraught apparently that he forced oral sex from her, and that so he even says that she blacked out from fear. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And so, but it didn't state it like in that order. So as I'm listening to it, I guess there's the progression of the stuff. And I'm like, okay, I hear the part about passed out of fear. And I'm just like, blacked out. You're forgetting stuff now. And I'm like, I don't know, right? But then when it gets to talking about, defecating on herself and all that, I don't think that's something that people just go around making up about, or going to that level. Like, that's a real odd thing, But then you go back to the situation about getting flown out and all that other stuff. So it's like we see all the IG models and we see all these things, but maybe it's different when you're the person in that position or something. I don't know, but it's like we know what's going on. We know these bitches out here hoeing. Leave Atlanta out of it, man. Look, Atlanta did it to themselves. You feel me? Look, we ain't telling boys out there to do none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta doing what Atlanta do all on their own. We already saw what happened at All-Star Weekend. We don't even want to get on. That's a whole den conversation. But and I agree with you, Shakur. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, what people will make up for money. That just seems like a if that was the case, it just seemed like it would be an out of the ordinary thing to throw out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I've heard of motherfuckers shitting themselves after getting stuck up. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. But I've never, and I've heard women tell their stories. We talked about a lot of crazy shit in the den, but like, oh my bad. We talked about a lot of crazy shit in the den, and I said, look, I'm getting distracted. Fucking just because all this shit is crazy shit to me. Like, y'all really don't understand. Like, because I've been in one position just not even want to talk about the goddamn Texans for so long, and then it's not good. It's all bad stuff happening. But make sure you hit that like button because that's good stuff. But so like I say, all those details, all the stuff that was put into it, man, it just seemed real graphic, it seemed real unnecessary. Like, why would somebody include that? But again, we do live in a day and age where people will do anything. Maybe they made it more extreme to sound like he's much more of a predator, But each of the stories seem a little slightly different, and so that's why this is just it's kind of interesting to me. Again, the time frame being a year is a long time to be able to coach somebody up, but I don't know when these other incidents took place. So I don't know if every incident was, a year ago or a long time ago. And, hey, we've got them to the point where, okay, we got the stories down and all that shit. Like, it's just, you look at a lot of stuff because we like to say we live in a day and age where it's been all kind of scheming, scamming, tomfoolery, and bullshit. And we see that there are people out there who target these athletes. But also we live in a day and age where you've had stories, various types of stories, where you've seen all kind of crazy things, from the Ray Rices to the Aaron Hernandezes, especially coming out of the NFL. So, like, part of me believes that it could be quite possible.
I think there was a safety from the Saints. I can't remember his name. That he was going around roofing women.
Yeah. Who was it? That was Sharper. Who is that? Who is that fucking safety that fucking did that? But yeah, fucking yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was Darren Sharper.
It was Sharper. Was it Sharper?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. You know, and that's the thing too. You know, you got people out there who are fucking sexual deviants. You know what I mean? Like everyday normal ass people, and then you know, it's a wrap after that. But that's just kind of looking at the more legalized side. Let's look at the kind of from the fan perspective, and how it impacts the team. Like, so now, even if everything clears up, like, is it a situation? I mean, like, it seems like everything's going to be real awkward. It seems like teams aren't going to want to touch it too much. I'm sure a lot, like you said, teams have gotten kind of hands off. And Deshaun has to know that impacts him. Doesn't want to be here. I mean, like, what happens? I mean, how do you? I don't see how you can move forward at all.
With the first case, I said, man, this is probably the best scenario for. I know Jack ain't gonna be for it. I mean, remember when Kraft just had an allegation, he split on New England.
Yeah.
He didn't wait for proof. He didn't wait for the lawsuit to either go away, for the investigation of the NFL to be done. He said, nah, I ain't with that. See ya, I'm done. So obviously he's not going to leave here because it's a player. It's not somebody in the front office. It's not the owner. So we already know Jack ain't with it.
Yeah.
Is Nick and Cal okay with it? I mean, the Texans have not been known for allowing any type of misconduct with the NFL on this team.
Correct.
I think the most recent one of the players last season ended up getting in a bar fight. And basically it came out that once they got the cameras and stuff from the bar, they realized, okay, it was on the player. He actually didn't do the first smack. So they, you know, that kind of blew away. They didn't suspend him. You know, they kept him on the roster, still on the team. So, you know, from that aspect, they are willing to wait to get more facts and get more evidence to really analyze this whole situation. The problem is that with Deshaun Watson, the longer I think you wait, the more of this shit that's going to come out, the worse that it gets, the more that teams get shy. Can teams put on their own investigators just like they do with all players coming out of the NFL draft for the NFL draft? Yeah, they can do that themselves. The GMs can decide whether they're willing to take the risk or not. I think the amount of compensation that you were originally going to get from Deshaun has gone down incredibly. Yeah. I mean, now you're looking at best a first-round pick, maybe for 2 years, maybe a first and a second, maybe a couple of players in the first. But for you to think that you're going to get 4 first-round picks with this kind of over his head, like, it's going to be a tough sell. I mean, it would definitely have to be a team who's desperate. And, you know, the Bears have already made the move to go get Andy Dalton, so I doubt that it's them. Carolina was reportedly had offered a whole draft for Deshaun Watson. I'm not sure if they're still in the fight, how Tapper feels about Deshaun even after this stuff looming over his head. And then the Jets and Miami are teams that supposedly, per report, Deshaun did not want to go to. I knew about New York, him not really being a place that he wanted to be in. But Miami, I didn't know till, you know, they had just said, supposedly, reportedly, you know, he didn't want to be there. But obviously, do they want that stuff going on, you know, while they bring this guy in? It's going to be tough. And the thing about it is you lose more because if you don't trade him by a certain time, like if you don't trade him by draft night, you know, what are the chances the Texans are going to take? Because I think this thing is going to keep going. Like I said, the guy has 6, but the way that it's been building, I wouldn't be surprised if 4 more get at it and end up being 10. Like, it's a high possibility that happens. And if that's the case, I mean, this thing can really go on for basically the whole offseason, maybe into the season. And at one point, I think the NFL does have to step in and say, okay, we already step in after one, with a little bit of details off of one. You're looking at 4, you're looking at 6, possibly, even more. The league could eventually give their opinion. Up to now, the league has decided to stay out of it and not give their opinion. Basically, has just said, we're aware of it. We know what's going on. We're just not ready to comment on the situation. Same thing with the Texans. I don't think that the Texans are going to want that type of individual here. Whether he's found guilty or not, I think they're going to basically cut ties with him. And it sucks because I think it's still a lose-lose situation. It leaves a mark on Deshaun, as a person, as an NFL player. And obviously, I think the Texans do not get what they had coming as a compensation. And we just end up in a situation where we're just basically tanking, not tanking, but we're not going to truly be any competitive. And then, end up looking for our future QB in the following draft. So yeah, man, that definitely sucks. So as a fan, I think this is the worst thing that could have happened, bro. I mean, it definitely was the worst thing that could have happened. It's like, where do you go from here? You're basically on pause. You're basically on wait and see. And yeah, so far, like I said, it just, with all the details, it does not look too good.
So let's flip the script. If it goes the other way, and I know these are not criminal charges being placed against him, these are civil suits. And real quick, hold on, I gotta show some love to Rio. I always miss it when Rio does this, and I apologize. But shout out to Rio for showing some extremely super sausage donation love. Houston Oilers, yes, we brought the Oilers back to Houston. That's a terrible thing. But number 1 was the licensed work from home. Number 2 was unlicensed work from home motels, and number 3 was licensed with an actual office. Okay, so again, that's it. Just like I said, the hotel, whatchamacallit, that's the janky one. The unlicensed one is the real janky one. That's the one I got a lot of questions about. But anyway, because that's the one that got flued out. I think the unlicensed was the one that got flued out.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, and so it's like that whole situation is like, come on, found you on Instagram, you got flued out, you're unlicensed. I don't know who her name is, what her name is. I guarantee that he didn't see your massages or whatever on Instagram and say, hey, those got to be the most amazing hands in America. Let me fly you to Houston where there are thousands of other massage therapists with licenses that work from home also. Because I just want your special massage. It just looks so good on video that I have to have it. So there's that. Now, even with that, though, there was the allegation that with that one, that he only paid her half, and then left her there, didn't give her a return flight back or something like that. I believe was the rumor or something like. I mean, honestly, I don't give a shit if you did. I find that absolutely hilarious. But like I say, it again, it's just all of these things that you hear. Could have
that been the chick that 979 was talking about? They created a GoFundMe to try to fly back.
Oh no, man! This GoFundMe going and all this other shit is just it's out of control. We saw that she was the one from I think Georgia or Atlanta or whatever. We already GoFundMe's in Atlanta don't go hand in hand. We saw all that shit All-Star fucking weekend.
Here you go.
It was terrible. So, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like you hear these things, and the Deshaun that we know, it just doesn't fit. But at the same time, we know human beings, we know human nature. There's always that possibility. Like he is almost on some, I ain't gonna say some House of Cards shit because he into politics or whatever. But it's just like, what is going on? Is this happen more than maybe we know? And again, we're playing hypothetical. If that Deshaun did do it, like, are there a lot of other NFL players possibly leading double lives? We've seen a couple of stars doing it.
So here's the thing: that first one, the details on the first one. Apparently, she says that she has texts. From what I've been told, those texts have been actually sent in with the lawsuit. That say certain NFL players, two other NFL players reached out to the same lady and referred to Deshaun Watson as Big D and wanted the same treatment that she had given him, specifically him. So when I saw that, I was like, man, who are these other players? Are there players on the Texans squad? Are there players from another team? I'm pretty sure when the league starts investigating, that's a thing that they'll look at it and be like, okay, so who are these other two players that? And for instance, did those messages only come through text? They said there's text and there's Instagram messages. So to me, it's like, man, like he's really caught up in those two scenarios. Like it's literally just a screenshot away. Like it doesn't take much. Even if he's erased it on his end, like this end basically has the proof. Like just because it's not on your phone doesn't mean it didn't happen. Obviously, people can create fake accounts and all to that, stuff like that. But I mean, what can you do? Can you blame it on hacking? I mean, you're pretty much in a tough spot. So, yeah, it was curious. I think Roddy White came out to Deshaun's defense today and was like, "There's no way you can force, oral sex on a woman." And I'm like, "Come on, dude! Like, how many cases has there been where there's been forensic evidence inside a woman's mouth for rape? Like." I thought that was a pretty stupid comment for him to make, giving up what the world has taught us. Like it's very possible. There's rape kits. There's a reason why they swab the insides of their mouth, and it's nothing new that hasn't happened before. So his comment, I took it. Yeah, I kind of felt like it was a little disrespectful, And like I said, I'm not taking any sides. We're talking about the details of everything that's going on. But for me, it doesn't look too good. It definitely feels like they have enough stuff there to feel confident that they can get compensation for it.
And I want to know, drop it in the chat real quick, everybody in the chat. I need to know if there are two other players on the Texans that may have allegedly referred to Deshaun Watson in a way that I would never refer to another man. That did go see this service. That tells me a couple of things, right? That tells me, one, there's some weird shit. Now, me personally, I want to know the two that y'all think it is. So y'all drop that in the chat. But me, I would probably think it would have to be. I don't think it would be super cool with everybody on the team like that. If there's this special service that you're getting, I would probably think it would be players that he would have to be particularly close with. But anyway, that's just my guess. But if she has text messages saying that they wanted the same service that he got, well, then wouldn't that mean that she did the task that he wanted her to do? So maybe she was with the shits and then found opportunities. Like if you're referring people, like if something happened and it didn't quite go the way I intended, or if it was an uncomfortable outcome, I don't think that I would be sending my homeboys to go, put themselves in the same situation. So to me, like, I don't know, right? And of course, like I said, I told you I'm biased. I'm absolutely biased, and I have no problem admitting that. So I'm going to try to find all the holes that I can find. But it just seems strange that you would send two of your people there if, it wasn't some, quote unquote, air quotes, exceptional service. You feel me?
Yeah, that's the weird part, right? Because they're saying they have a text of Deshaun apologizing to the first one. But the first one is also they're saying that Mr. Big D here has referred you to do exactly, what you did to him. So it's like, which one came first? The NFL players trying to get the same thing and then maybe being shut down and going back to Deshaun and say, nah, man, she ain't with it. And then him apologizing like, oh, crap, like she might definitely be on to me now. Or maybe she's feeling a certain type of way. Let me go ahead and apologize. Or it's bullshit, right? Like Deshaun didn't apologize and these cats really never reached out to her but for a regular massage. So like I said, those texts, they're claiming that they have proof that they're going to be able to turn those in. They're going to be able to show those. That's what I'm waiting on. I think a lot of people are waiting on that details for those messages to come out. Do they come out? I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm not really sure how that lawsuit, works. Obviously, the details for the lawsuit itself have come out, but once the case starts to be, taken either by the judge or a jury, is that public information? Do they give that out? Are you really going to get the details of it or the screenshots or whatever? I'm not too sure, but I think everyone's like saying like, I want to see it. Like I really want to physically see it. So yeah, not too sure there. I thought that was a little sketchy though.
No. And so again, like we say, playing hypothetical, the Houston hypothetical. if this does happen, if he does get charged civilly, has to pay out some money, has to deal with that, is Deshaun Watson's career over in the NFL?
If he loses it?
Yeah, if he loses it and these allegations end up, being found out or determined to be true and he has to pay, whatever. Because like I said, it's all civil, nothing criminal. Do you think that it's over for him, or do you think he'll be able to redeem himself in a situation similar to that many people gave Big Ben?
I can't recall the Big Ben situation and what occurred and why he, allowed him to still be in the league. Mm-hmm. But if he's found guilty, obviously the league is going to open up their own investigation and judge him for it. Mm-hmm. I think he's suspended minimum 2 years. And it's probably a suspension like indefinitely where he has to come back and they have to judge the whole situation. He has to prove, I don't know, he's become a better citizen or man of the community. I'm not too sure what the stipulations could be, but I think his best days are probably gone. Not to compare it to Kaepernick or anything, but like you allow too much time to go past you, and teams have moved on. I mean, they've drafted the next guy. They've, decided to trade for someone or whatever the case may be. I think, like I said, for us, it's a lose-lose situation. The Texans lose, Deshaun loses. The league just moves on, right? They just moves on to the next star. They move on to the next quarterback. And at the end of the day, their conduct policy is like I said, if you look at the president, the Zeke case, they basically told the league, like, there is no case here. Like, this woman is just saying he said, she say. She's been known to be a liar, and the league didn't care. They still gave him 6 games. So I think at the minimum, Deshaun, whether he's guilty or not guilty, he's gonna get 6 games. But if he's found guilty, he'll probably be suspended at the very least a whole year, if not 2.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very good point, H-Town Slim. Say that we are in a new time. We've been through the Me Too movement and everything going on since the Big Ben shit happened. Big Ben was the one that got busy in the bathroom with one of them chicks. I can't remember it was a bar or some shit like that. Yeah. So we are in a different day and age. And again, it's real tough to find out what's going to happen. It's not tough to find out; it has to happen. But it's tough to know what's going to happen because I say it's just sketchy. Like there's really no foundation to me, kind of either way. What I mean by that is you got a lot of these allegations until actual facts come out, until you have that actual evidence come out. I'm not sold on it. Even though, like I say, if you got 6 people allegedly saying stuff, and again, haven't heard anything from the other 3. Only heard the first 3. So I'm sure more will come out by this evening or this afternoon, and so we'll definitely have more to speak on. But I do think either way it goes, there will be some kind of penalty because again, the league wants to look like they are doing something. But I think if he is found guilty, I think it'll be pretty harsh. But I do think that he'll be back. It'll just it'll be different. Definitely have plenty of time to hone the skill. So, and that's why I find it interesting too, Queen. Like, why are there no criminal charges filed? Like,
especially that third one. I mean, that seems like pretty. To me, sexual assault. Like at that point, it's almost. I mean, it literally is rape, bro. Like you stuffing someone's mouth, like while they don't want to be on you, like that. I don't. Why that wasn't put in criminal, like. I think Real Talk has talked about it, the burden of proof. Maybe they feel like they can't prove that. They can't prove that in a criminal case. It's basically he say she say type stuff. And I think what they're feeling is for a civil case they can win that a little bit more easier. There's not so much burden to prove everything. So yeah.
Man, yeah, it's just awkward, man. It's weird, and like I say, until more comes out, until you hear more about it, it's weird because the first one comes out, he puts out the message, right? Then more come out, and to my knowledge, I haven't heard anything else about it, like I say, other than going and lawyering up, and probably his lawyer. I'm pretty sure his lawyer told him not to really say nothing or address anything. Yeah. So it's just like It's tough. You're probably right about that, Brian. See, yeah, that well, not technically the first, the first and the last black QB for the Texans for a long, long time. But again, yeah, I think it's just, man, it's odd, it's unfortunate, and you want to, I want to say, I feel bad for the young man, but at the same time, I have to take into account if the possibility, which I really hope it is not. I have no problem. No, I'm not ashamed to admit that. Because if it's not true, then it never happened. Nobody got hurt, right? But that I'm hoping that the young man has a chance to keep on playing, because I want to be entertained by it, whether he's in a Texas uniform or not. But if he did do these things, then absolutely, you must be punished in some form or fashion, But I found it odd, like I said, because he wasn't talking to the Texans, and I guess that he probably did these things and just, really it was an afterthought. Because if you have all these incidents, it really makes you wonder, because then you question the mentality of a person. So if you're out here doing this and it's not a thing to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is Deshaun really? And that's why I say it's just really hard for me to believe it, because we've seen him do all the we all heard the first check, given to the camera, all the things that he's done. So is that who he was, or has the league changed, or has the money changed, or is he, is there something more sinister going on that we just haven't known about it? So, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. The first case was in March, so that's prior to his contract. Obviously, he's still making money on your rookie contract. It's not like he's not making anything. And then the second case, I think, was in August, which was a month prior to him getting the money. And then the last one was in December. So, did the money change him? I'm not too sure. Can I say Deshaun has changed with success? Like, you can see, the difference between when he first got drafted. Yeah, but I think that's anybody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you got new clothes, you got a new whip, you got a new home. Like, anyone has basically acclimated to the new things that are available to you. I don't think that's not new. Like, no one does not happen to. Yeah, some people are cheap. They just want to stay wherever they are, but the chances of that I think it's more rare than none. But I don't know. Like I said, I think that's why everyone has the benefit of the doubt with Deshaun, because you've never seen anything like this come out of this camp. Not in college, not in high school. Not ever. Raised by a woman. Has a girl. Like everyone's like, how can this happen when you got every possible avenue to avoid any of this? So I think that's what for most of us, it helps us, give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm with you, man. I really hope it's not true, because it's a ruined career, it's ruined lives, and eventually, as a fan, we're pretty screwed at that moment. Like our best quarterback, got drafted. You moved up to get him, and then this happens to you, it's
as Houston as it could be, man. This is as Houston as shit could fucking be. Now, like, just some off the wall, off the grid ass. When you thought you had nice stuff, you thought you're like, hey, it looks good, and shit, we don't get to keep nice things around. It's fucked up, dog. But yeah. Oh man, but so you got your Tyrod Taylor jersey, man?
Oh, nah, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, nah, man. Honestly, after what the Rockets have done to me, my jersey purchasing has slowed down quite a bit. Because, from buying, obviously, the Harden jerseys, they lasted forever. But, you had Russell Wilson there. Now, if you wanted to go get a PJ Tucker or Eric Gordon, you're shaky about it, because PJ Tucker just got shipped out.
Yeah.
And Eric Gordon is probably on the way out. So... yeah, man. I definitely have chilled out with the jersey shopping, but either way, I'm not supporting the Texans in that type of level, anyways. Not giving them money, with ticket purchasing or jersey purchasing, because we in a way, obviously not everything is going on with Deshaun today, but where we were prior to this, they've put us in this position, and it's like, how could we continue to support that? It's terrible.
So that's a good point, though. That's a very good point, though. But with this happening the way that it's happening, do you think that this changed the overall perspective that people have of Deshaun as far as in that situation? Because, you kind of got two sides of the fan base. It's Team Deshaun, it's Team Texans, and then you kind of have you had a lot of people who were Team Deshaun as the days went on, the weeks went on, start kind of filtering back over to Team Texas. But then now you have this thing happen, even though it's totally unrelated, to contracts and everything else. But do you think this alters, again, like say how people view him in that situation? Do you think he's lost supporters, people who thought he might have been right versus the Texans, now seeing that other side of him? Do you think people are kind of stepping away from him in that nature?
I think people are still in a moment of shock because when you read the details on these cases, you're just like, you look at Deshaun, the player, you look at Deshaun, the person who invests in his community, both here in Houston, both in Atlanta. And you think about it and you're like, dude, like it's a complete different side of the coin for him that people are not used to. And, I've seen this on Twitter a lot. Like, just because you know a person professionally doesn't mean you know them intimately. Like, you don't know what they're into intimately. So could there be another side to him? Yeah, it's very possible. But I think people are still right now in shock. They don't want to believe it. But the more the details come out, it definitely stains him. It paints a terrible picture of him. And I am kind of shocked that they haven't come out to say anything. I know that the best thing for him right now is not to say anything because nothing's really going to help him. I mean, the only thing he could do is deny, which he basically did prior to all the other details coming out. And, he just basically told everyone, like, I look forward to clearing my name from all this mess. And, people will say a guilty person would have paid, to make this go away. I personally think that the lawyer didn't approach Deshaun saying, I got 5 other cases that are coming your way. I think they probably were looking at a lump sum of him settling. And he didn't think there was enough there for the first one. When you start to look at the details for the second and third one, if they were true, I don't know, man. I don't know nobody that would look at those 3 cases and be responsible for them and say, heck no, I'm gonna allow this to come out to the light. So from that aspect, I think everyone's leaning on that. They're hanging on to that portion, saying like, who in their right mind will allow this stuff to come out when they could have just settled it, But yeah, man, we're definitely gonna see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So, like I say, it's going to be really interesting, ultimately. Yeah, that's going to be the start of the 30 fucking Spence. That shit was funny because he had the intro. We was talking about that shit in the Discord. But, yeah, it's just terrible. It's like an awful franchise. Like, has it ever been this bad for one sports franchise, like, in the period of the year and a half, 2 years? You know what I mean? Just like, it's just, I don't know. It can't get much worse. But, again, like I said, I'm going to do a quick poll real quick. I want to know y'all's thoughts. I want to know how y'all feel. Quick poll. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Do you think Watson is guilty? And then what we're going to do is, because I got to figure out, because like I told you, I switched over to Zoom, and I've been fucking up. I don't even know how to get my fucking Zoom line working right. So when we do, we will jump off a little bit later this afternoon again. And so I'll try to have the sauce line activated for those. I know some of y'all want to call in and share your thoughts, and then we'll get the round together, you know what I'm saying, and make sure that, like I said, we can have us a good conversation. But again, it's just like, I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens ultimately. I find it really strange. Also, like I say, just the thing. Oh, I have one question. So, because I when it was first came out, like I said, I kind of dismissed it initially, and then the other ones came out. Was it initially he had the case, but then I remember him putting out a message saying if anybody knew any other stories or anything like that. So did he have, the 6 or whatever already, and then he's getting additional stories, or did he have that one and those other additional stories came out after he kind of put that call to action out?
Yeah, I think that's everyone's question. Like, were you sitting on this? How long were you sitting on this? How did these women come together and get the same one lawyer? Like, these are all questions I think that's going around because that's another part of it being fishy. Like, so all these women all of a sudden found out this case was going on. That's why I think it's more like there was one who was willing to stand up. I don't know how close that professional job is. Like, I don't know if people in the industry of being a massage therapist talk, like that. Is there a freaking a link where everyone has a chat. Like, those are the things I think
might.
everyone is questioning. So it's definitely tough because, like I said, originally I thought it was just that first case. That second one came through and it started piling on. I thought 4 was bad because I think as of yesterday we only thought it was gonna be 4. Then he posts something on his Instagram and says, "Nah, we got 6 coming."
Well, somebody just came in. Angelica Carter just came and said the lawyer just said it's 9 women now.
See what I mean? I said it could potentially be get 10.
Yeah, he did say that. Oh man, that is tough, dog. Like it again. Hey, we live in a day and age of clout chasing. So I put nothing past anybody on any side, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's
that's a lot, man.
Yeah. That's
a lot.
That's unfortunate. It's not looking good. You know what I'm saying? It's not looking good. And when the number goes up, it sounds like it sounds much worse. And again, I don't know if this is a thing, and you got to hear the stories. I'm not team Me Too. I'm not team Believe All Women. And so somebody made a comment about something earlier. It would have been facetious when I put that. I have no problem openly admit that. But when you do have a person of this magnitude, and we can talk about power and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Deshaun was the man in this city. This was his city for a little while. Like, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was that dude. He made the city feel like, hey, we had a chance. Something's gonna shake. You know what I mean? And maybe that went to his head. Maybe he was feeling that way. All the attention that he was getting in the national media for a while. You feel me? You don't need Johnny Cochran to come back. Yeah, Johnny Cochran can't save your nine, bro. But like, just to see all this, and again, I'm trying to be fair and play both sides of it. Do I believe that Deshaun Watson is guilty at this time? I'm standing on the side of no. You're gonna have to hit me with some evidence. You're gonna have to show me some proof. Again, but does it look good? 1, brushed it off. 4, whatever. 6, okay. 9. What's really going on, Chief? Again, like I say, hey, this what is it? When there's smoke, there's fire. You sending a lot of smoke signals. You know what I'm saying? So shit, I'm just.
And like we said, maybe not all 9 are true. Maybe some of those are piling on. Trying to get some type of compensation. Like, oh, well, I massaged them one time. Let me see if I can get some shaken.
Yeah.
And they don't all have to be true, but just off of the first 3 that he's like, all right, these are the 3 I'm gonna open up this case with. It didn't look too good, man. And like I said, if they've come out and said, we got the text, we got the Instagram messages, we got the plane info that he sent over to get this chick, we got the witness coming out and saying, I saw her distraught, I saw her after this had taken place, and they're saying that they can present all this. Like, I don't think you just come out and say, I can show you proof of this. Like, they've coming out on these lawsuits saying, I can present this to you as evidence. I'm not sure if that's a tactic to get Deshaun to be like, nah, let's go ahead and settle this now. But yeah, man, I mean, I think so. We've talked about it. To me, it's a lose-lose for Deshaun. I mean, it just definitely paints a terrible picture of it. Whether he chooses to settle, whether he ends up winning the case or losing it. I mean, these chicks can go to write their own books about this. You don't know where the lengths of this stuff can go to. They can feel like they didn't get the compensation they wanted and attack them in other ways. We don't know, but yeah, we talked about it. It could potentially go to 10. We're at 9 now, so poor Deshaun, man. I definitely feel for the guy as far as having to deal with this. I think it's a mess. I mean, you already wanted out of the city. Now you got this piled up on. I really hope it's not true. But if it is, man, you got to change your way, man.
Yeah. Man, look, I'm going to tell you this one. And I see it. I can see, 9 of them throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks. And I think that especially, again, like that, the third one was the toughest one. The second was the oddest one. The first one was shaky, but I think that if you got women, especially who are masseuses, who may have had contact with him here or there, I don't know. That man plays tough. He gets hit a lot. He gets banged up a lot. And, you might need massages often, keep his body in athletic shape, whatever. So, it could be dozens who could just say something as flimsy as that. Like, I mean, again, like I said, you're in a situation where you're doing an intimate service for someone. You know what I'm saying? You are making contact with somebody else. You're rubbing them down and all that other shit. Like, there's a lot of shit you could say, and so that's why I question those who are in home or whatever else. Like, you don't have cameras or something like that for your own safety, your own security, because I mean, you are letting strangers into your home and stuff like that. So I would think that have some type of contingency plan just in case something goes wrong. You know what I mean? But then, like I say, it's just that weak ass story. The first one was such a weak ass story. It could be many other masseuses who could say the same shit. Like, oh yeah, I was adjusting him and he slapped me with his dick. It happened. Yeah, I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like motherfuckers just say anything, right?
Yeah.
It is just like, so I think that again, I'd have to hear them all and look at them as an individual case by case basis. Some of them sound a little bit more solid than others. You know what I mean? So. That's all I'm saying. It's real odd. It's real crazy. It's real fucked up. And again, the fact that none of them are criminal is the
honestly, I don't know if we can pull up to this case. It is a civil case, and from what I know, I don't think there's any restrictions for you to go and sit in and hear the case when it happens. I'm not too sure, on the agreements, that maybe they come down and be like, no, we want to close court. We don't want anyone in here. But I'd be curious to see, what the national media decides to do. They decide to go in there and record the whole thing. I mean, at this point, I know Fox picked up on it early on, like the first case. ABC got on it, I think by the time it was like up to 2 and 3. So, I mean, from a news aspect, I think they're avoiding the sports part of it, and they're just really trying to cover, it being a sexual assault, I guess you could say. So yeah, man, it definitely is. They thought that the trade request was going to be the story of the offseason. I think this is definitely the new story of the offseason.
A real quick side note for all of y'all who got something to say about the lava lamp, not lava in. Fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? It take a little bit to heat up, all right? So I wasn't necessarily planning the stream, so I ain't cut it on this morning so it can warm up. And so it take a little bit. So if you hating on the lava lamp, kiss my ass. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a media story because I mean, just as much of it was, like you said, when the news is taking the football aspect out of it, just as big of a story it was that Watson is possibly on the trading block for the Texans in the sports world. I feel like this will become just that big of a story because again, we're in a situation where you got transitioning administrations, regime, different beliefs, the kind of society we're living in right now. And then the news cycle. Like, this is a story that could really be blown up and hyped up and draw out a lot of attention. So I think that I expect news outlets, as more things come out and if facts and things start coming out, I expect them to jump on it. But without there being the possibility of criminal charges, I mean, maybe not. They may not find it as interesting. People want to see people go to jail for some reason. It's a fucked up thing,
yeah.
but it is what it is. So, okay. But like I say, with that, appreciate the love, Mitch. Yeah, that's my dog. After that, like I said, we'll get ready to wind down. Because like I said, we will get together a little bit later this afternoon, kind of see what's going on. I need to go catch up on some of the new drops now, the 9, get a little bit updated information, and then work on getting the line in order. Because if everything works right, finally hopefully we'll be able to do like we've been trying to do all this time, and like I said, be able to work it in with the roundtable and those who want to call in and chop it up. So get some time to do that. I appreciate everybody who came through, everybody who showed love. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to this, hit that subscribe button. We're gonna get the sauce back rolling. We're gonna start stirring it up. What happened is like we left it out, overnight, and it got that little kind of thin coat across the top of it. It got like it was kind of tough, so you kind of got to stir it a little bit, get that little hard layer out, and just kind of mix it back in. That's where we at. We're getting that little hard layer out the way.
Yeah.
Hey, you hating, man. But appreciate the love, Jay Dizzle. But yeah, man, Mr. Houston TikTok, aka Ashby, anything you want to say to the folks before we slide up out of here?
Man, it was good to chop it up with you guys, and yeah, man, I hope everyone's doing well. I know we had just had a storm a couple of weeks back with the ice or whatever, but I hope everyone's kicking it and enjoying this beautiful weather out here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and if y'all suffered any losses, hopefully that, those things are working out for y'all. If you are in Texas, if you are around the country, much love to wherever you may be, wherever you're tuning in from. And again, I'll put it up on the community tab to let y'all know what time it'll be updated if you're not following Soft Sports on all the proper social medias. Well, do that. If you're not subscribed to Houston Texas Talk, the link is in the channel favorites or the little side tab. So no excuses to be, oh, I don't know how to find the channel. It's right there. Very easy for you. Very convenient. Yeah, I mean, for right now, that's all. And like I said, the lamp has to warm up. It just takes a little. It takes about an hour or so for it to warm up, and I barely cut it on right before the stream. And so, we're gonna stop talking about. Let me get out of here, man. Fuck this. This ain't about the lamp. It's about Deshaun Watson and his devious deeds. But for those of you who in that oily shit who like that shit, Shelly Long into that shit too. So you know what I'm saying. So if y'all like that, y'all like them kinky chicks, Shelly Long and all that weird shit, hit her up. Hit her in the DMs. She likes to get flued out, and she will offer all the massaging needs that you like. So just hit her up in the chat and get her information. But with that being said, we're going to chuck up a deuce, man. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Absolutely appreciate y'all. If you're in the Discord, slide in the Discord. We'll chop it up a little bit live, and then we'll go from there. Everybody else, appreciate y'all. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Mr. Asmel, appreciate you coming through. We're chunking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy. And we out. We're just going to hit the stop button.